Investing in our future was the theme this year for the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce as they brought political and business leaders together for panel discussions at the Niagara Economic Summit.
Well, the hot topics that we're looking at is the economic barriers and opportunities that are existing there. How can we as Niagara become more successful is the key for the first topic that we looked at. The second topic we called Navigating Niagara. So it's really looking at the infrastructure and public transit opportunities that are there. And the last one is looking at emerging industries and trends that also Niagara might be interested in, that businesses are interested in, that allows us to actually move forward, allows us to attract more talent to Niagara and grow.
And who are some of your guest speakers today?
Dr. David Wolf is a guest speaker for the first one, Economic Barriers and Opportunities that are Existing. This was followed by Brock Dickinson. He is the CEO of MDB Insight and has worked with economic development departments around the world. And he really took a look at interesting trends that are happening when we're looking at public transit and transportation and infrastructure opportunities that are there. The one coming up is Carl Baldoff. Carl Baldoff is the VP of Policy and Government Relations with the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. And Carl will look at just having finished off the Ontario Economic Summit. He's actually going to take a look at trends and opportunities that are there and that Ontario and therefore also Niagara can take advantage of.
Brock Dickinson, CEO of MDB Insight, spoke about the importance of improving Niagara's infrastructure and public transit.
I think it's interesting. We have this long history of being really successful at transportation issues. I mean, we built the Welland Canal, right? This is one of the engineering marvels of the world. That came out of this community. It was a local initiative. It was local companies that drove that. And I think we've done really well on building that kind of industrial, commercial side of the transportation sector. Because of the kind of relatively isolated nature of the communities around the region historically, though, we haven't been as good at building public transportation infrastructure. And I think that's the next challenge. Part of that is our population has grown over the last 200 years, and now our communities kind of overlap at the edges. For a visitor from somewhere else, it's hard to know where St. Catharines ends and Thorold begins, for example. So if we recognize that we're starting to come together around the edges, it means we've got to be better at integrating the kinds of services that we provide to people in our communities. And transportation and transit is one of the key ones. How do people get from A to B? And in a community where we have had job challenges and employment challenges, getting that worker who's in one community to a job that's in another community is going to be central to our success moving forward.
St. Catharines Mayor and former Chamber CEO Walter Sendzik was optimistic about the discussions that arose at this year's Economic Summit.
One of the positives that I've seen come out of the summit today is how aligned those of us that are representing the people of our communities are aligned with the businesses and where they want to go, and the academic groups, Brock University, Niagara College, and where they need to go. That alignment in itself will create a lot of strength in our community. But alignment alone isn't going to get us to where we need to go. We need to actually take that alignment and then create concrete actions that come out of it, such as intermunicipal transit, one transit system for Niagara, and the introduction of GO into our community. Those kind of things are transformational. And what it means to Niagara, if we get that right, that means that we will be so well designed for where we need to go that we'll be able to be not just competitive, but more competitive than those neighboring communities around us.
I hope that people actually will move Niagara forward. I think there's a lot of reports, there's a lot of discussions, there's a lot of things that in private discussions over the years have taken place, but what we're hoping for is that there's a collaboration between the public sector and the private sector that actually allows us and moves us forward, and that there's a commitment that comes out of it that actually allows us to move forward on some of those initiatives that are so much needed in Niagara.
For information on other stories happening throughout the region, check out the TVC Niagara Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. Reporting for The Source, I'm Mark Wickobredo.